Now at 6, the abortion battle kicking into high gear in the state of Florida. The state Supreme Court held a hearing today that could help determine the future of abortion rights in the states. Justices are being asked to decide whether voters should get a chance to weigh in on an abortion measure on the November ballot. The measure would protect a woman's right to an abortion. Good evening, I'm Elliot Rodriguez.
And I'm Lauren Pastrana. CBS News Miami's Jim DeFede joins us now with more on what both sides of the aisle had to say at the Capitol.
Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. The Supreme Court of Florida is now in session.
On Wednesday, the Florida Supreme Court heard arguments about whether Florida voters should be allowed to vote on a constitutional amendment to protect a woman's right to have an abortion. The proposed amendment states in part, no law shall prohibit, penalize, delay, or restrict abortion before viability or when necessary to protect the patient's health as determined by the patient's health care provider.
This court has emphasized repeatedly how reluctant it is to remove an amendment from the people's sanctified right of self-determination. It should not do so here.
Supporters of the amendment gathered more than 1 million signatures to place the measure on November's ballot. But Florida Attorney General Ashley Moody is asking the Supreme Court to prevent the measure from going on the ballot. Nathan Forrester represented the state.
The proposed amendment here should not be placed on the ballot because it is misleading in multiple respects.
Almost immediately, the justices began to push back against Forrester.
It just seems like it imposes an impossible burden on the people proposing an amendment. And it seems like to me all these things have to be argued about in the political process.
Throughout the hearing, many of the conservative justices made it clear their personal opposition to abortion, describing the constitutional amendment as a wolf that would offer unambiguously broad protection to women seeking abortions in Florida. But they also appeared skeptical of the arguments to block the ballot measure.
If I understand your position, you're saying this is a wolf, and a wolf it may be. But it seems like our job is to answer whether it is a wolf in sheep's clothing. That's all we get to do. And it seems to me that you may be right. This may be as sweeping as you say. It may be that it wipes away all regulation of abortion.
The voters can kind of argue about whether, they want something more nuanced than that. I mean, it just doesn't seem like this is really trying to be deceptive.
Courtney Brewer said the group that gathered the signatures did everything the court required to get the measure on the ballot, and that there is nothing deceptive about the language.
By putting the language of the amendment into the summary, that is accomplished here, and this court has repeatedly said that the summary and title provisions are easily satisfied when that's the case.
Now, Lauren and Elliot, this was a fascinating hearing, but the judges need to rule on the issue by April 1st, and I'll be staying on top of this issue coming up in the weeks and months ahead.
A lot of political ramifications here.
Very much so.
Jim DeFede, thank you as always. We'll see you at 7 to discuss more on the impact this is going to have going forward.